Welcome. You have been placed in a Klesher Rehabilitation Facility for violation of local law.
Ready to take the next step on the road to rehabilitation? Find time today to think about how you can make amends for all the wrongs you've done. Any negative can become a positive with a little bit of work.
When venturing out, always keep an eye on your oxygen levels.
Prison.
Although there are plenty of refill stations.
What is there to know about prison? Keep it simple as far as I've understood.
Thanks to our award-winning Klesher Cares program, a percentage of all your hard work goes towards helping those less fortunate. Together, we can turn your wrongs into a whole lot of right.
With this, you'll spawn in one of these little habs, then you'll jump out or walk out to this central area where it shows you where you can see your time stat, the guidebook for the areas, etc., merits, everything else. Then over here, this is where the processing, so as soon as you're eligible to be released, you can go over here and walk towards the door. It'll then initiate your processing and allow you to leave. But in order to count down and get your stat lower, you need to collect mining materials, rocks, using your little trusty gun device. And then dump them into a little container.
Ready to take the next step on the road to rehabilitation? Find time today to think about how you can make.
So you'll walk towards this plastic area. And then you'll take a left.
Remember,
Here,
delivering
you have the
harvested
ability
elements can drastically reduce your sentencing. It's not only a fun way to pass the time, but also a great way to pick up an honest trade.
Here you have the ability to buy a number of things, medical items, snacks, water, different multi-tools. You know, if you plan on staying here for a long period of time and being a crime boss. Then when you come out these doors, you get access to the mines. Okay. Your oxygen in your suit will count down. This is something that you need to manage while you're in here. There's a number of oxygen tanks throughout the mine shafts that you can find. As far as I know, there's 15 mine shafts. You just follow the path. They'll have numbers next to it you can follow. There's also a way to escape the prison, but I haven't really ventured that far into it yet, so hasn't been that big of a deal. What I can tell you is that starting off at these lower, shallow mines, if you have like an hour or two crime stat, it's worth it just to sit here and stay in these lower, shallow mines and just mine these materials. You can get rid of that 3-hour crime stat pretty quickly, you know, 1 or 2 loads of rocks. But if you have a longer crime stat, like my crime stat was 4 or 5 earlier, when I came in here, I ate 8 or 9 hours I was supposed to wait. If you go all the way down these shafts, so this is number 1. So if you keep following these signs, eventually you'll get to number 15. As far as I can tell, the farther you go, the more rare materials you can find. And the higher your crime stat, the faster that is to get rid of. So I found a couple of rare materials when I was down there at the 15, and my crime stat went from 8 or 9 hours to 3 with 1 load of rocks. So at that point, it'd be pretty easy to just kind of get your crime stat knocked down quicker that way. There's also a number of bodies that you'll end up finding as you go through here with spare tools, food, water, drink. You'll also find food and water and drink, sometimes just laying on the ground. other bits that happen in here is you can get a mission. This is interesting. You can get a mission in here that will allow you to do a task to find a data chip, and they'll help you get out of jail early. So while you're in here, if you have a long enough crime stat, it will eventually trigger. What's up, bro? There's ways to, you're looking for rocks? But yeah, you'll find a number of bodies in the mine shafts. They'll have spare backpacks, food, water, multi-tools that you can find. You can confiscate those items. Sometimes you'll find like prison shivs, etc. You can return those items into a selling area like this over here. This is the main area that you can sell some stuff to. So over here, they can buy back contraband that you find, and on the other side, you can turn in your materials. And you'll find backpacks and things like this laying around. Sometimes there's things in them, sometimes there's not. But something to note if you have a large enough crime stat is that you can collect these bags, carry it with you to the other side, fill up multiple bags, and then come back later. So instead of just being able to pick up one load, I could potentially pick up 2 loads, run all the way back over here, and get rid of my crime stat fairly easily. The big issue is that if there is a lot of criminals here, they can try to kill you, and it will increase their crime stat. But if you had a bunch of materials, they could potentially pay off their own crime stats with your materials. So you need to watch out that you don't get killed. So think of this kind of like Among Us, where you can kind of trust your fellow inmates, but they can also stab you in the back. Now, somewhere in these caverns, there is a way to get out of here. I think I've seen it my first time I was down in the prison, but I didn't really investigate. I think it's a zone that basically says do not enter. It's blocked off with like a couple of, you know, it's like a collapsed tunnel or something along those lines. I've seen it somewhere. I'm fairly sure it's pretty close to the entry point over here. So if you run across that, I'm fairly sure that's the way to escape, but I think it requires help from the outside. Now, if you don't really know anything about mining, the basic materials, there's a few different ones, but the orange is kind of like a basic material that isn't really that big of a deal. The purple is a little bit more rare, and then the green is kind of in the middle for the most part. Now, whenever you come up to any kind of rock that you're looking for here, you're going to like right-click, scan the material, but all these rocks here that are really small have already been mined. So there's no benefit to mining any more of those. In all these places in the starting area here, usually they're already kind of mined. So like right here, that's a rock. So you got a couple little rocks here. As you see, these are amorphite, which is like the most basic material. Okay, so each material is a little different. So when you right click, it'll scan and tell you the composition of the rock or whatever, and on the left it gives you your power bar. So that's going to just be kind of how you can essentially mine the rock. So when you left click, you get a laser that starts hitting the rock. Now this isn't going to do anything until you start amplifying the power, which is on the mouse wheel. So for me, I had to press Alt, which I re-keybinded for my lean, and then use it to increase the power. On the left, you'll see that little gauge go up. Usually I just max this out, and then as soon as you get close to the green, you kind of roll back on it a little bit. And basically you want to keep it in the green without going to the red, and let the green bar fully fill up. But also the more power and the closer you get it to the red, the faster it's going to mine as well. And then it breaks and you can collect whatever rocks are here. So you just press your F key and you can click store and store all those rocks.
Attention! Attention! Please direct your attention towards the front gates. One of our guests has completed their rehabilitation and is being released. Let's give them a round of applause. Good luck back in the world, civilian.
And you can get turned around fairly easy in here. One thing to note is if you do go down these tunnels and you continue going down to 15 or whatever, basically each shaft has different dead ends that have rocks in it, and then there's usually one path that goes farther down, and if you turn around, there's going to be a green sign that says exit. That's how you get back to these areas here. But when you're down in there, that's when people can find you and kill you, take your stuff. I usually only went forward so far, so I don't really know where these side paths go. I would assume... Oh yeah, if you see markers like that, it's usually a dead body. So you can find extra mining gear, extra bags. You can find stuff in those backpacks and stuff as well. I'm not sure if all these tunnels are connected or not, but essentially I would assume they would all come down to the same sort of pattern. There you got number 1. Yeah, so these are different zones. So it looks like there's 2 or 3 different paths that you can go down. Fairly big mining complex for the most part. Now, whenever you've delivered your mining materials and you're finished, you just come back to the starting area that you came from for the most part. And then go through the other door. So if you exited on the left, you're going to enter on the left over here. Opposite side.
Here's a friendly reminder to leave all materials found during mining expeditions outside.
And essentially, you can just, you know, turn in your mining materials, come inside, and then...
Thanks to our award-winning Klesher Cares program, a percentage of all your hard work goes towards helping those less fortunate.
Shouldn't be too
Together,
bad.
we can turn your wrongs into a whole lot of right.
Also, for now, mining or logging off, etc., still takes time off your sentence, so you don't have to set in game if you have a sentence. And as soon as you're ready to go and your time stats down, you can come over here to this main exit.
Attention! Attention! Please direct your attention towards the front gates. One of our guests has completed their rehabilitation and is being released. Let's give them a round of applause. Good luck back in the world, civilian.
It's kind of an interesting maneuver there. I don't know if you can actually sneak people out with you. If other people can run through that door, they might be able to sneak out with you. That's interesting. But yeah, things to just watch out for. Apparently, the quests that you get when you're playing the game, they can be good or bad, and this is kind of where things get sideways. So I've been doing bounty hunting missions, and then it seems like every bounty hunting mission that I take, uh, they basically just give me a crime stat. So if you take a mission that's like worth 10,000 and then you go and get like a level 2 crime stat, you can pay it off, but it's going to be like 32,000. So you just go farther and farther in the hole. It's kind of hard to tell which ones you're supposed to take and which ones you're not. But it's just something to look out for. Also, like towing vehicles that you're not allowed to tow, like don't have permission to tow, then they can give you crime stats as well. So there's a number of things to look out for, but basically that's the gist of what I gather from prison life. I'm sure eventually there'll be an underboss that kind of sets in there and makes life terrible. Because there's a number of ways you could do it. I mean, there's only a couple places that you can, drop off your rocks and stuff. If there's enough people down there, they could easily start taking people out and stealing the rocks and managing who gets to stay and who gets to leave. So, any case, that's just kind of an overview of the prison so far.